Strokes. 100,000 people have them a year, but you never expect one of those to be you. But what if it was? It happened to me. 3 years ago, my dad suffered a major stroke at the age of 50, and nothing could have prepared us for how much our lives would change. This series will show what life is really like for the people living with the illness, caring for those with it, and how a worldwide pandemic can have catastrophic effects on society's most vulnerable.
There are two main types of stroke. The first is ischemic, referring to a clot, so a clot in the artery, which blocks off the blood supply to part of the brain. The other type is hemorrhagic, and that is down to a bleed in the brain that ruptures. Thankfully, they are rarer because they are harder to treat.
It's been 6 years since Emma Reid suffered a major stroke. She was 31. Coincidentally, it was World Stroke Day.
All I had in my head is, so this is how I die. I have never felt a more just gut-wrenching, heartbreaking pain in my life. And it was that I left my kids there and I actually didn't say goodbye.
5 years on, Emma is still learning to live with the side effects of her stroke.
I've been left with constant pins and needles down the entire right side of my body. The secondary stroke I've got severe ataxia of my arm, so I struggle to move. When I was out and I had a walking stick or I was in a wheelchair and people go, "Oh my God, what did you do to your leg?" I'm like, "Oh, I had a stroke." They go, "No, but you're too young." And I'm like, "Well, evidently not."
20% of stroke survivors don't receive the recommended amount of physiotherapy. 2/3 leave hospital with a disability, and 45% feel abandoned when they leave hospital. However, a stroke is not a life sentence. There is mental and physical therapy available.
So physical therapy promotes self-independence and it promotes quality of life. So a lot of the people I work with will go through movement testing, but the psychological aspect is the most important, because at the end of the day, you could provide the most amazing program for somebody and they not do it. And the reason they're not doing it is because you haven't considered their psychological needs. That actually, okay, you've had a stroke, but that doesn't mean that your health has to decline drastically. You can prevent that from happening. And when I hear that I'm making somebody's life a lot easier, then that's really, really rewarding.
Strokes can feel random in nature, but can also be a result of an accident. Paul was left without speech and the use of the right side of his body after a motorbike crash. He was 19.
I used to get irritated by people who said, "Don't understand you," because I understood everything I said. I thought I'm talking quite clearly, and I had to learn to slow down and think about what I was saying and just give myself time. I've had a stroke, and that is my property. I am going to try and do what I can to achieve, to get myself better. But it's encouragement. It's just people need to be told, "Come on, let's have a go. Let's see what we can do."
A stroke is clearly a life-changing event, but help and rehabilitation is possible. But what happens to relatives and friends that care for their loved ones who are victims of a stroke?